This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The last many years, I've spoken at many venues. Never have I felt so unworthy and inadequate to address an assembled crowd. Reb Volba once wrote a letter of nechama, a letter of consolation to a family who experienced the loss. And Reb Volba writes, Mi ze enoish kamaynu yuchal laseis nechama. What human being, which basar v'dam could give nechama? Give nechama? You can't give nechama. Rav Hutner once wrote in his Igroi Suksavim, Ma oimer u'ma adaber, what could I possibly say? Rak odoin hatanchumim asher lo yifla mimenu davar yesh loy ba'oitzarai tzari urafua lenishbarei leiv. Only the Ribbono Shel Olam has in his repertoire, in his reservoir, the refuah, the nechama for the brokenhearted. Only the Ribbono Shel Olam could bring nechama, and nechama could only come from one place, the Torah HaKadosha. As David HaMelech says, Zois nechamasi be'anyi mitayras chaloi natisi. This evening I say to my dearest friend, Rav Moshe Morgenstern, who organized tonight's event, Rav Moshe, who said that he's going to rise above his personal loss and try to bring nechama not only for himself, not only for his own family, but for Achenu Beis Yisrael who experienced losses in their mishpachos, and to bring nechama to families in Klal Yisrael through the only true source of nechama, the Torah Moshe, the Torah Shebechsav, Limud Mishnayos, the Torah Shebal Peh. You know, there's an interesting halacha in Shulchan Aruch. The Mechaber discusses in Siman Kuf Mem what kind of position should a person be in during Kriyas HaTorah. Is one obligated to stand during Kriyas HaTorah, or is it okay to sit during Kriyas HaTorah? And the Mechaber says you're allowed to sit down. However, the Ramah says v'yesh lahachmir, and the Ramah, the Maharami Rottenberg, would stand during Kriyas HaTorah. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Why would Maharam Rottenberg stand during Kriyas HaTorah? Says the Mishnah Berurah, b'nei shetzarech ha'adam lahalois bedatoi. A person has to imagine at the time of Kriyas HaTorah that he's not just listening to the Torah, but rather ki'ilu ba'oisoi shah mamish kibla me har Sinai uva har Sinai hoyu oimdim shenemar anoichi oimed bein Hashem uvein ha'am. Marv Rabboisai, at the time of Kriyas HaTorah, it's not just limud HaTorah. You're not just listening to the Torah. It's a reenactment. You're reliving the experience of Kabbalas HaTorah. And we know at the time that the Ribbono Shel Olam gave the Torah to Klal Yisrael, He didn't just give us the Torah. There were a number of unusual occurrences that happened then. It was koilos, ubrakim. But Chazal tell us further that when the Ribbono Shel Olam said, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, Parcha Nishmasam, their souls departed, and the Ribbono Shel Olam went ahead and he took the tal with which he's asked to be Mechayim Eisim, and the Ribbono Shel Olam was Mechayim Eisim. Dear friends, dear brothers, this Sefer Torah, every time this Torah is laid, every time any Torah is laid, it's not just listening to the Torah. You're reenacting Maimon Har Sinai. You're reenacting the great phenomenon of Tchias HaMesim. At the time of Kriyas HaTorah, a person's supposed to imagine Tchias HaMesim ani mamin be'emunah shalema. Sheyiyah Tchias HaMesim be'esh sheyala l'ratzayin l'fnei borei olam. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was in August 2015. I got an email. This was The first I ever even interacted with Rav Moshe, this was right after the Shiva. And Rav Moshe sent me an email. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. And he asked me, I was giving Shiurim on a public forum. He asked me to share some divrei chizuk. And I remember at the time, it was almost 10 years ago, I remember how unworthy I felt even to try to give divrei chizuk. But it was Parshas Re'eh. And Parshas Re'eh, we read the pasuk, Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem, lo yisisgoidedu. And there are many perushim in that pasuk. In other words, all the chizuk that the Rishonim offer, be'ez tzara, come from the pasuk, Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem, lo yisisgoidedu. But there's a particular perush that resonated with me very deeply. And it's based on a lamdus. I want to share with you a little lamdus. There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin on Daf Lamed Tes. The Gemara tells us that the Rebbeinu Shalom is a kohen, shenemar v'yikchu li truma. So the Gemara asks if the Rebbeinu Shalom is a kohen. So when the Rebbeinu Shalom buried Moshe Rabbeinu, which mikvah did he go in? The Satmar mikvah wasn't built yet, so which mikvah did the Rebbeinu Shalom go in? Which mikvah would have been built big enough? Frak Toisvis, why is the Gemara only bothered which mikvah the Rebbeinu Shalom would go in? Why doesn't the Gemara ask, how could the Rebbeinu Shalom be metame in the first place? Zok Toisvis, that's not a kasha b'chlal. How could the Rebbeinu Shalom be metame to a yid? Rebbeinu Shalom's the tata. Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. We're from the Shiva Kroivim. There's no kasha. How could the Rebbeinu Shalom be metame to Klal Yisrael? Writes the Parshas Drachim from Tosfos. We see a phenomenal yisoid that be'ezras Hashem on the great day of Tchias HaMesim, how will the Rebbeinu Shalom be able to be Mechayeh Mesim, but he's a kohen? The answer is Rebbeinu Shalom will utilize the principle of Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. That the fact that the Rebbeinu Shalom is the Tata, he's allowed to be metame to us, and through that, the Rebbeinu Shalom can be Mechayeh Mesim. So at the time, I remember thinking, maybe the Torah is saying, Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. The Rebbeinu Shalom is the Tata. Mamela, one day there'll be Tchias HaMesim. So therefore, lo yisisgoidedu. Don't be misabel yoiser midai. Because it's not an avelus oilam. One day, be'esh sheyale l'rotzen l'fnei habari yisbarach, this room of many meos, this room of many hundreds, will be'ezus Hashem be alafim u'revavos. There'll be a day of tchias hamesim. There'll be a day that all of the chesroinos and all of the losses will be reunited with. We'll see them again. How? But the Rebbeinu Shalom is a kohen. Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem, says Tosfos. I found Reb Chaim Falaji. Reb Chaim Falaji wrote a Sefer Nefesh Chaim. He writes 36 proofs to the Shita of Reb Meir that were Banim l'Hashem, and one of them is Tchias HaMesim. And says Reb Chaim, this is the Pshat, Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem, lo yisisgoidedu. If there's any Sefer Torah in the world that could speak to us, and could call out to us, and could be machriz, Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem, it's this Sefer Torah. If there's any Sefer Torah in the world that when we hold the Atzei Chaim, we're literally connecting to the source of Chaim, to the source of Tchias HaMesim, it's this Sefer Torah. V'zois ha-Torah asher sam Moshe lefnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Hashem b'yad Moshe. I thank my dear friend Rav Moshe Morgenstern on behalf of everybody here for giving us the nechama, for giving us the chizuk, for giving us this Sefer Torah that's machriz, banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem lo tisgoidedu. Be'ezus Hashem, this simcha is only the beginning, is the haschala of Be'ezus Hashem, the great simcha that we should all experience, of the Bias Goyel Tzedek, It should usher in the Tchias Hamesim and Be'ezus Hashem, only continued Simchas, Nachas, Shefa, Bracha, V'Hatzlacha, and only Yeshua's V'Nachamos, Lanu L'Chol Yisrael. Amen. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.